Number 10. The human tail. Imagine sitting at your desk, and you lean back a little too far. Your chair starts to tip. You're about to go down, but instead of flailing your arms and screaming, a long, prehensile tail shoots out and wraps around your chair leg, saving you from a humiliating faceplant. A few million years ago, this wouldn't have been a ridiculous cartoon scenario. It would have been a normal Tuesday. You see, our ancestors were basically tree-dwelling acrobats, and a tail was their essential tool for balance and grip. We've all got a tiny, ghostly remnant of this ancient feature, your coccyx, or tailbone. It's a group of fused vertebrae at the base of your spine, and it's basically the biological equivalent of a ghost town. All the neurons and muscles that once powered a functional tail have been abandoned, leaving behind a useless bony nub that can still hurt like crazy if you land on it wrong. Evolution decided a tail was a bit too much baggage for a ground-dwelling ape, so it packed up and left. The joke is, it left behind a little souvenir that to this day serves no purpose other than to make sitting on a hard surface feel like a minor act of physical aggression. Number 9. The third eyelid. You've probably seen a cat or a lizard's eye flick a strange, translucent membrane across it. That's a nictitating membrane, and it's basically a third eyelid. It's a protective shield that some animals use to keep their eyes wet and clean without sacrificing their vision. Our ancestors had one too. While you might think that's a Cooper power to have, you've probably already noticed you don't have a magical, semi-transparent shield you can deploy. Instead, you have a tiny pink bump in the corner of your eye closest to your nose. That's the plica semilunaris, and it's the shrunken, useless remains of your third eyelid. Evolution, in its infinite wisdom, decided we didn't need a transparent eye shield anymore. We had a better, more energy-efficient solution. Just blink. It's a classic case of a feature being downgraded from essential survival tool to weird anatomical fun fact. Every time you look in the mirror, that tiny pink bump is a reminder that your eyes were once equipped with a feature straight out of a sci-fi movie. But now all you have is a leftover bit of flesh that just sits there, judging your watery eyes with a silent, evolutionary apathy. Number 8. The Darwin's tubercle. Take a look at the outer rim of your ear, right at the top. Do you see a tiny bump or a slight fold? Congratulations, you have a Darwin's tubercle. You might be thinking, what's so weird about a tiny bump? The weird part is what it's a leftover of. In many of our primate cousins, like chimpanzees and monkeys, the same location on their ears is a pointed tip. It's the point of a pointy ear. The Darwin's tubercle is the last gasp of those pointed ears, a completely useless genetic souvenir that some of us still have. It's like evolution was trying to make us all look like elves, but then got bored halfway through and just gave up, leaving a tiny, insignificant lump to mark its effort. This feature, which serves no purpose whatsoever, is present in about 10% of the population. It's a completely harmless, random genetic quirk, a tiny nod to a time when our ears were more expressive and, frankly, a lot cooler. It's basically a post-it note from our ancestors that says, "We used to have pointy ears, but we lost the cool factor somewhere along the way." Number 7. The palmaris longus muscle. Hold out your hand, palm up, and touch your thumb to your pinky finger. If you see a small tendon pop up in the middle of your wrist, congratulations, you have a palmaris longus muscle. If you don't, congratulations again, you're just a little bit more evolved. This is a leftover muscle that about 10 to 15% of the population is missing entirely, and it makes zero difference to their lives. Its original purpose, millions of years ago, was to help our ancestors grip and hang from tree branches. It was a key muscle for brachiating, the fancy word for swinging through trees like a chimp. But once we got tired of the whole swinging thing, the muscle became completely redundant. Think of it as the dusty, old, analog phone in the corner of a high-tech office. It's still technically there, but nobody uses it. In fact, it's so useless that surgeons sometimes remove it for use in other parts of the body during reconstructive surgery, and the patient doesn't even notice it's gone. It's a literal ghost muscle, a quiet little tribute to a time when your biggest daily concern was not dropping your banana. Number 6. The vomeronasal organ. Your nose is for smelling things, right? Wrong. Your nose is actually a two-part system, and you've got a weird, completely useless second nose hiding inside. Many animals, like snakes and cats, have a specialized organ in their nose called the vomeronasal organ, or VNO. This isn't for smelling. It's for sensing pheromones, those weird chemical signals that trigger instincts about mating, danger, or territory. It's basically a real-life spidey sense for sniffing out the good, the bad, and the horny. Humans are born with a VNO too, but for some reason it's completely non-functional. It's just a tiny, vestigial pit of tissue inside your nose that does absolutely nothing. It's a dead circuit, a sensor with no power. Some scientists think that this is a good thing, that our brains would be overwhelmed with weird social information if it were still active. So while your dog is over there processing complex chemical data from a fire hydrant, you're stuck with a broken pheromone detector, relying on your regular brain to make all your awkward social decisions for you. Number 5. Goosebumps. You're watching a movie, the music swells, and you feel that familiar tingling sensation. The hair on your arms stands up. Or maybe you step outside on a cold day and a wave of bumps appears on your skin. These are goosebumps. A seemingly pointless reaction that's actually a hilarious leftover from our hairy ancestors. Back when we had a thick coat of fur, the muscles under our skin, the erector pili muscles, would contract, causing our fur to puff up. This served two purposes. First, it would trap a layer of air to insulate us, keeping us warm. Second, it would make us look bigger and more intimidating to predators. The problem? We lost the fur, but we never lost the reflex. So now when we get a chill or a sudden rush of emotion, our bodies still throw a mini-party trying to puff up a coat of fur that hasn't existed for 1,000,000 years. It's the evolutionary equivalent of your computer trying to run a program that was deleted ages ago. Your body, in its own strange way, is just trying to intimidate predators with its completely bare skin, which is about as effective as trying to scare a bear with a very stern look. Number 4. The extinct tailbone muscles. We've already talked about the coccyx, the little nubbin at the base of your spine that's the final resting place of our tail. But what's even weirder is that the coccyx isn't just a lonely bone, it's still got some muscles attached to it. Not a lot, and they don't do much, but they're there, like a dusty, forgotten relic in an old attic. These muscles, the levator ani and coccygeus, once had a job. They were part of a system that controlled a fully functional tail, helping our ancestors waggle it for balance, or maybe even, just to express themselves. Now their job is basically non-existent. They're just hanging out, a testament to a time when we communicated with our butts. It's like evolution gave a bunch of employees a pink slip, but then forgot to take their desks away, so they just sit there, twiddling their thumbs. These tailbone muscles are a daily, pointless reminder of a time when your butt could have done so much more. Number 3. The useless ear muscles. If you've ever met someone who can wiggle their ears, you've witnessed a party trick that's actually a leftover evolutionary glitch. This is all thanks to a trio of tiny, mostly useless muscles called the auricularies. In many animals, like dogs, cats, and rabbits, these muscles are what allow them to swivel their ears to pinpoint the source of a sound. It's a crucial survival tool. For us, however, they're just there. We lost the ability to move our ears as a species because our brains got so good at processing sound direction, and our necks got flexible enough to just turn our entire heads. Our ear muscles became redundant, like a physical keyboard on a modern smartphone. So while you might think wiggling your ears is a cool skill, it's really just a minor party trick that highlights how you've got muscles that are just waiting for a job they'll never get. Number 2. The unnecessary wisdom teeth. Raise your hand if you've had your wisdom teeth pulled. Yep, pretty much all of us. But have you ever wondered why they're such a problem? It's because they're a terrible evolutionary mistake. Millions of years ago, our ancestors had much larger jaws and ate a diet of tougher, more fibrous plants. They needed those wisdom teeth, the third set of molars, to chew their food. But over time, our diets changed. We started cooking our food, and our jaws shrank. Our brains got bigger, and there just wasn't enough room left in our mouths for those last molars to come in. So now they push against our other teeth, cause pain, and have to be surgically removed. It's a cruel prank by evolution, a painful reminder of a dietary habit we abandoned a long time ago. Think of it as a house builder who keeps adding an extra bedroom to a house that's already too full, and every time it collapses the whole structure. Number 1. The plantaris muscle. Finally, let's talk about a tiny, unassuming muscle in your calf called the plantaris muscle. It's a long, thin muscle with an even longer tendon, and its original purpose was to help our ancestors flex their knees and feet, like when they were climbing or gripping things with their feet. But as our feet became less like hands and more like feet, the muscle became completely redundant. It's so useless that around 10% of the population is missing it entirely, and they don't even know it. Surgeons often refer to its tendon as the freshman nerve, because it's a common mistake for new medical students to confuse it with a nerve. It's the perfect example of evolution slowly, quietly phasing out a body part. It's a useless, tiny muscle that is on its way to disappearing entirely, proving that our bodies are constantly a work in progress. It's a fascinating look at how we're all just a bunch of evolutionary prototypes, carrying around pieces of old code that nobody has bothered to delete yet.